Hey everyone. All right, tonight I'm going to start explaining to you what happened with my family case in Illinois before we got to Florida. So last Friday, I kind of explained to you how the kids got here in Florida by being ordered by Justin Serlick to be sent down here, and then the email chain and the communication chain of my attorney with the Illinois guardian ad litem ordering them down here, etc. So first I'm going to explain to you my divorce in 2013 to Justin Serlick. So my divorce was final June 24th of 2013, and that court case number is 13D981. And that's this right here. And just like Friday, I will scan all the documents and add them into this YouTube link once I upload it. So in this parenting agreement, I had full sole custody of Ariana, Tommy, and Bianca. Charlie did not exist yet. Page 7, line 7 is the most important key to this document. And I am thoroughly convinced that page 7, line 7 is why the last 5 years have happened, where the Serlicks have kept any and all contact between my children and I. Because basically, they're punishing me for page 7, line 7. Now, page 7, line 7 is something that you do not normally see in a divorce normally. And it states, the parties agree that the children should not have any contact either in person or by phone with Mary and Ira Serlick. Now, why did I have my attorney, Dennis Gravel, put this in my divorce document? Goes back to pretty much 2003 to 2012 abuse by Mary and Ira Serlick to Justin, myself, and our two children, Ariana and Tommy. When I was pregnant with Ariana, Mary and Ira decided to, and this happened pretty much behind my back, decided to purchase a house in Rockford, Florida, and move Justin and I into it. And I was 9 months pregnant with Ariana. So I didn't have much of a choice. Justin had gotten fired from Rent-A-Center in Round Lake Beach. I'm 9 months pregnant and on my maternity leave from Hewitt Associates. I was working there in human resources. And so I didn't have much choice. So they purchased this house on short sale for $35,000 in the worst part of Rockford imaginable. I'm born and raised in Round Lake Beach, Illinois. I'm not from a large city. When I was a kid, Round Lake was all farmland. So it was not at all what I was used to in Rockford. We had drive-by shootings. We had our cars being broken into. We had our house broken into. It was just not ideal. And then the final straw was our ice cream man being shot in front of the house while Ariana was only 2 months old and sitting in her crib right in front of that window. So Justin and I left Rockford, Illinois, and moved to Davis Junction from 2007 to 2009. So my son Tommy was born in Davis Junction, born at Rockford Hospital, but we lived in Davis Junction. So 2007 to 2009, we were in Davis Junction, Illinois, very, very quiet community, but also 45 minutes away from any sort of civilization. So if you wanted to work, you were traveling. So in 2009, we chose to move back to Round Lake Beach, Illinois, so I could go back to work. Ariana was 3, Tommy was 2. I had been a stay-at-home mom for 3 years. I wanted to return to human resources. So that's what we did in 2009. So this divorce, this 2013 divorce, gave me full sole custody of Ariana and Tommy and Bianca. Bianca was only a year old, almost 2 years old, when we got divorced. Now, the main thing that pushed us to get divorced is in 2012, Mary and Ira Serlick used Illinois DCFS to try to take my children away from me while I was in Costa Rica on a study abroad in 2012. My very first time out of the country. I am a geology student in Costa Rica with my professor, Dr. Korn, on a field biology study abroad. We are in back country, hiking for 3 weeks straight. 90% of the time, we were nowhere close to a cell signal. So their intent was to swipe up my children via false complaints with DCFS in 2012. Justin was finally able to get a hold of me in Costa Rica, and I had to use my travel insurance to fly on an emergency flight home 2 days early, which ultimately destroyed my study abroad. So I had to fly home in two days early from Costa Rica to go to an emergency juvenile hearing where Mary and Ira Serlick were lying to a judge, telling this judge that I was neglecting my son Tommy, who is special needs. Ultimately, Justin and I ended up subpoenaing his Aunt Kathy, Mary Serlick's sister, and then his grandmother, Kitty Fitzpatrick. So Aunt Kathy and Kitty Fitzpatrick came to this juvenile hearing, an emergency juvenile hearing, and testified on Justin and I's behalf. Now remember, this is when we were still married. Testified on Justin and I's behalf that we were not neglecting our children. So it kind of just the whole thing got dismissed. By the end of 2012, the whole thing was dismissed. Basically, Mary and Ira Serlick destroyed all of 2012 for us, ruined my study abroad in Costa Rica as a field biology student, and pretty much destroyed our marriage at that point. That was the final coffin in our marriage. It was very clear Justin and I needed a divorce for quite several years before that, but 2012 and Mary and Ira Serlick manipulating the Illinois DCFS, that was the final straw for me. So Justin and I started talking about divorce in December 2012. So our agreement to keep Mary and Ira Serlick from continuing to damage our children was to figure out how we could work around the Illinois grandparents' rights law. So basically in Illinois, if a party is divorced, the grandparents have the ability to actually take the divorced parents to court and sue for some sort of custody. So obviously they were already trying to manipulate Illinois DCFS in 2012. So we didn't want to give them any opportunities to use that grandparents' rights laws and try to destroy our children that way. So Justin and I came to an agreement that I was going to have full custody of our children, and he would have visitation rights, and he would pay, let me go to that child support amount. Now, when we got divorced in 2013, he was working for Intuit, making $16 an hour. I was not after him for child support. That was not what this divorce was about. This divorce was about protecting our children from his crazy parents, his controlling, manipulating, abusive, crazy parents, Mary and Ira Serlick. So in this divorce in 2013, Justin was ordered to pay me $641 a month in child support for 3 children. Only $641 a month. That's not a lot because, again, he was only making $16 an hour. Most importantly, it was page 7, line 7, protecting our children from Mary and Ira Serlick. That basically was a permanent order of protection. My attorney, Dennis Gravel, wrote it into our divorce. Justin read it over. He had multiple copies of it emailed to him. He agreed to it. June 24th of 2013, we're at the Waukegan courthouse, and our hearing is at 10 o'clock in the morning. We sit down in front of Judge Patricia Fix at the Waukegan courthouse. Dennis Gravel is there representing me. Justin is pro se. And Patricia Fix says to Justin, I see here there's a page 7, line 7, talking about your parents. What's up with that? So Justin literally said on the record, Your Honor, my parents tried to essentially steal our children from us last year in 2012 by means of abusing the Illinois DCFS system. So this is what Heather and I have come up with to protect our children and ourselves from their mental abuse, emotional abuse, abuse of our judicial system, etc. So Patricia Fix said, okay, fine. As long as you're in agreement with it and you understand what that means, and that's what mom wants, make it so. So Patricia Fix at like maybe 10:30 in the morning, it was literally only a half an hour hearing. It was very, very respectful, very cordial. It was just Justin and I, and we were doing what was best for our children to protect them from these people. Justin and I drove together to the Waukegan courthouse. We left together at the Waukegan courthouse. We literally went to lunch after our divorce was finalized. And even more weirdly, he actually went with me to the the DMV, Libertyville DMV, to convert my driver's license from Heather Serlick back to Heather Bendl. And then we went to the Social Security office in Waukegan and converted my Social Security card back from Heather Serlick to Heather Bendl. And then we went and picked the kids up from daycare and had dinner as usual. And we're divorced. Poof. Any of my Illinois friends that remember this happening, a lot of my friends, when I marked myself as divorced on Facebook, a lot of them were like, congrats, I think this is a good thing. I'm like, yeah, this is a good thing. This is a step in the right direction for Justin to move on with his life, for me to move on with my life, and protect our children from marrying Ira Serlick with page 7, line 7 written into our 2013 divorce. So that is what happened with our divorce in 2013. So let's fast forward to 2020. Even though Justin and I divorced in 2013, the ultimate goal and plan was for him to eventually move out. I did not expect him to move out immediately. We were literally just divorced. We still had joint checking accounts. We had to divide our checking accounts. We still had a T-Mobile phone bill together. We were still sharing T-Mobile together. So we needed to separate ourselves. And then the agreed upon plan was that he was going to be moved out by 2014. Well, 2014 rolls around. I start seeing Roger Ruggles. I'm dating Roger. Roger and I are serious. Roger moves in with me at my Fox Lake house. And at that point, it was pretty much assumed Justin was going to move out. Didn't happen. He did not move out. At that point, Roger was literally demanding he move out, and he was refusing to move out of my house. Now, when our divorce happened in 2013, I removed him from my lease because he and I, when we were married, we were on the lease together. I had my landlord, Alan and Michelle Rosenbaum. They still own Hillcrest Nursing Home in Round Lake Beach. They were our landlord for that house. And so Alan and Michelle removed Justin from the lease. So from June 2013 on, the lease was only in my name, but Justin was paying half the rent. So 2020 happens where and I explained this in my previous video, where he stopped paying rent in September 2019 and ultimately caught up to us in January 2020. I go in front of, I believe it was Judge Betar, B-E-T-E-R. I go in front of Judge Betar in January 2020. I work it out with Monami Realty that they're going to apply my security deposit from 2011 to the past month's rent where Justin was not paying it. And we would just move out, wash our hands. I don't owe them money. They're not evicting me formally on the record, and just go our separate ways after living there for 9 years. Then we ended up down here because there was a housing freeze in Illinois. So we were temporarily staying at Mary and Ira's house. And it very quickly, within not even 10 days, became incredibly toxic, very toxic. It became very evident that Mary and Ira were trying to figure out a way to kick me out of the house, but keep my children there so they could essentially steal my children from me. Ariana Tommy, Bianca Charlie. So like I said previously, I drive up to Illinois. I seek domestic violence shelter after Justin and Mary tell me to kill myself in their Port Orange house. And at that point, I'm already linked up with domestic violence shelters. And at that point, I reached out to Dennis Gravel of Gurnee, my former divorce attorney, and I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. We need to have everything 100% legal, and I need Justin to go his separate ways from me. So here's what happened. 2016, Justin raped me. My son Charlie was the product of him raping me in 2017 when he was born. We need to have Charlie added in to my parenting agreement from 2013. And now Justin is no longer making $16 an hour. He's making $62,000 a year at Koenig Minolta, all covered. So we need to get Charlie added into the parental agreement. We need to have the child support recalculated based on his new income, because I had never had anything recalculated. Charlie was born in 2017, so now we're talking 2020. So that was 3 years that Justin was not paying me child support for Charlie at all. Charlie was not part of this 2013 divorce. Therefore, all this time, Justin was only paying $641 a month for 4 children when it was actually calculated for 3. So Dennis Gravel takes my retainer. We start getting the process going. So that brings us to my new case, 20F422. So my old case was 13, as in 2013, D for divorce, 981. Then this new merged case, adding Charlie in and then recollecting financial affidavits, etc., was 20 for 2020, F for family, and then case number 422. So that's this right here. And again, I will upload all of this like my last one. So the first documents we have is I basically printed the printout of these court documents off of Circuit Court of 19th Judicial Circuit, Lake County, Illinois, off their clerk's online portal. So it starts with, at the very bottom, August 4th, 2020, and then there's all these documents, orders and notices filed into it all the way up to September 3rd of 2024. Okay, so we're talking 4 years of documents in Illinois. And to give you an idea, my Illinois docket is a whopping 29 DINs, document information or identification numbers. So that's it. That's 4 years. Because my family case that I started to get Charlie added in, merged in, and have a new child support calculation figured out based on 4 children instead of 3, based on Justin living in Florida instead of Illinois, because the kids and I were going to remain in Illinois. And then based on the new dollar amount he was making, $62K instead of $16 an hour. That's a big difference. So obviously that means that he was going to be paying quite a bit more in child support, add an additional child, and then a massive bump in pay. So if you go on Illinois' website where you can calculate the child support, and Illinois now looks at both parents' income, if you compare if you input all the data, it came out to almost $1,200 a month in child support that he would end up owing me per month if he stayed in Florida and I stayed in Illinois, based on 4 children, and is $62,000. But also because in Illinois, if the non-custodial parent is more than 100 miles away, they actually bump the child support a little bit because they are not a full-time parent in their lives. So he's looking at a pretty hefty child support increase. Thus enters Mary and Ira Serlick again. So let's explain the documents. So now you can see these documents. Now you can click on view and then I can upload them. So that's that part. And then this is just a 1-page history of all of the court hearings. So 9/15/2020, presentment of contested motion, yes, remote, 10/30. So basically, we have our first family court date, September 15th, 2020, on Ariana's birthday. And October 8th, 2020, is when they disappear from Kitty Cottage Daycare and out of my life completely. So we're talking 3 weeks. 3 weeks between when I had my first court hearing to start this new 20F422 and when my children are basically governmentally kidnapped, state-sanctioned kidnapped, whatever you want to call it, it was kidnapping, took my 4 children from Kitty Cottage Daycare, and they disappeared off the planet. They disappeared from my life. And then all of a sudden, there's 4 juvenile cases opened up in Illinois juvenile court, okay? So unlike other states like Florida, Illinois juvenile court and Illinois family court do not really mesh together. They do not really communicate with each other. Family court supersedes DCFS court, juvenile court in Illinois. Juvenile court can give recommendations to family court, but juvenile court is, unless the parent is actually charged with abuse, neglect, whatever, and juvenile court deems it necessary to full-on terminate the parent's rights to the child, then really juvenile court can only do so much, and then they push it to the family court. So basically, I start this family court case to modify my 2013 divorce. I hire Dennis Gravel in June. We get our first hearing September 15th of 2020. I've got the proof that Justin was served by my attorney's office. And basically, all of a sudden, right after my kids make their reports to the Gurney Child Advocacy Center, they disappear. So that starts in my family docket. Our first, so we're going to go to DIN 9. That's September 15th of 2020, and that's my order. Okay? I know it's backwards. It will be uploaded for everyone to see. So that was September 15th. The kids disappear October 8th. And then we have October 16th, Justin was served. And so this is the certificate of service that Justin was served with my petition to reopen this 2013 divorce case, add Charlie in, and modify the child support. And then I called Dennis Gravel and I tell him what happened. My kids were literally taken from the daycare, no court order. I had no badge from this Jessica Lyman of Illinois DCFS, no identification whatsoever. I don't know what to do. I'm begging him for help. So he very casually says, and it was almost like he already knew this was happening, "I'm sorry to hear that. I don't handle Illinois DCFS cases. So I'm going to have to withdraw from your case," even though I had paid him a retainer, and he had really done nothing except serve Justin with the filing that I was taking him back to court and modifying the 2013 to have Charlie added and the child support adjusted. He's like, "But my friend Thomas Hunter out of Barrington will take your case. I will send you the information for Thomas Hunter." So this is motion to leave to withdraw. This is Dennis Gravel withdrawing from my case, October 26th of 2020. Okay. At this point, Justin had hired an attorney, Mark Fisher. Okay. So we get that next court date, so the September 15th court date, before the kids were taken, Justin shows up on the September 15th court date, and Mark Fisher's like, "Your Honor, I just was hired by my client yesterday, September 14th. I need to extend this court hearing to October 30th so I can get familiar with the case." So the September 15th court hearing was continued to October 30th, 2020. October 26th, my attorney, Dennis Gravel, withdraws. Justin's attorney, Mark Fisher, remains. Okay. So October 28th, Justin files a motion to continue. Justin incorporates the emergency basis section above as fully set forth, and he motions to continue and then starts citing me losing the kids. the kids were taken from me. Except the kids weren't taken from me legally. They were kidnapped. Because what ended up happening was they figured out that I was in a vulnerable situation, domestic violence shelter, and the kids disappeared from my life. So they were child trafficked. So what that meant for my family court case is that it put it on a back burner for the entirety of the juvenile cases. My family court case that I started when I hired Dennis Gravel in June 2020, first hearing was September 15th, gets put on a back burner and just kicked down the road because that juvenile cases, those were open. So we're going to fast forward. So that keeps getting kicked down the road, kicked down the road, kicked down the road. August of 2021 happens. And like I said in the previous video, I read all of the emails. At that point, I had hired Thomas Hunter that Dennis Gravel had referred me to for my family court case. And $43,000 in attorney fees got me absolutely nothing. My kids were eventually just dumped down here August 13th of 2021. So when Florida needed to meet with the Illinois judges to officially get jurisdiction, that was September 3rd of 2024. So my court case, my Illinois court case, goes all the way to September 3rd of 2024. And right before that was the April 27th, 2022 order that should have never happened because I wasn't present for it, nor did I have any representation. February 28th of 2022, I was ordered, and Justin was ordered, to transfer the case to Florida. Okay? Transfer the case to Florida. Petitioner is granted leave to file a motion to transfer this matter to Florida within 14 days. Okay, so that was February 28th, 2022. The juvenile cases for Tommy, Bianca, and Charlie were officially closed out December 14th of 2021. I know this because I was present for this hearing. It was via Zoom. I was already down here in Florida. The kids were down here in Florida. Justin was down here in Florida. All of us but Ariana was down here in Florida. So why would Illinois have any reason to continue this family case? Right? The kids were here for over 6 months at this point. I was here in an RV trying to gain access to them, see them, talk to them, visit with them, etc. Let them know that I was down here. So February 28th, we're ordered to transfer this thing to Florida, a family case to Florida. Juvenile case is closed out, right? So Tommy, Bianca, and Charlie, it's all family law. And family law in Illinois is telling us to transfer to Florida because that's where we all are, okay? So we get to DIN 27, which is the April 27th, 2022 order in Illinois. We're ordered to transfer the case to Florida in February. And then all of a sudden, April 27th, this order happens without me present. And it even says I'm not present. Respondent and GAL appearing via Zoom. Petitioner, me, failing to appear in the matter being called at 9:35 a.m. Now, this order is literally only 3 pages. It's 3 pages. Uno, dos, tres, right? So it is hereby ordered Justin is allocated sole parental responsibilities, including sole decision-making for CS, BS, and TS. Sole parental responsibilities. It does not say sole custody. Legal verbiage is everything. It does not say sole custody. It says parental responsibilities. Number 2, allocation of parental responsibilities for AS is reserved as AS is currently in the care and custody of the DCFS. Like I previously said on my last video, Ariana was fighting tooth and nail to stay in Illinois in Des Plaines at Maine West with David and Christine Hart, her foster parents. And I supported her. If she wanted to live a lavish, wealthy life with strangers and wants to emancipate herself, if she can convince the judge that she can emancipate herself, fine. I didn't have any power at this point. My children had been told complete and utter lies by the Serlick family, Elizabeth Tevis of Camelot Care, guardian ad litem Kathleen McGee. I was powerless at this point. I lost any and all contact with my kids for absolutely no reason other than court corruption, illegal activity. So even Justin's rights were reserved to Ariana Serlick in this 2022 court document. Importantly, number 3, the issue of parenting time and or contact between Heather and the minor children is reserved. Reserved. Okay. So in legal terms, what does reserved means? It means, you can Google it, in legal terms, what does reserved mean? It means that a judge is not making a decision on it at this time. It is to be heard at a later date. Okay. So basically, they are stating, I'm not here for this hearing. I have no legal representation, which really means this should have either been continued or dismissed because it was my case. And then I'm the petitioner and the petitioner doesn't show up after being ordered to transfer it to Florida. So why would we even do anything on April 27th, 2022? This is so illegal. This should have never happened. This is beyond illegal. No legal representation. I'm not there because I had a medical emergency. And this is very clearly typed up in a very quick manner. It was almost like they had this in their back pocket the whole time. But yeah, it says issue of parenting time and or contact between Heather and the minor children is reserved. So all 4 of my minor children, I'm reserved, not terminated. My rights to my children were not terminated at all. It just meant that this was never meant to be a permanent document, and this needed to be addressed in Florida court because we were all in Florida. UCCJEA. And then number 4, Justin's child support obligation and any withholding orders related to same are terminated retroactive to September 22nd, 2021. So basically, they're permanently terminating his child support that was ordered in the 2013 divorce. Now, number 5, retroactive to September 22nd, 2021, Heather shall pay Justin $785 per month as and for child support for CS, BS, and TS, which was calculated based on Justin's financial affidavit dated October 18th, 2021. So when you pick apart Justin's financial affidavit that was supplied, you come to that $785 is calculated that he is continuously paying $120 a month for clothing for the 3 children, $120 a month for clothing, $40 a month in grooming, $60 a month in education, $135 a month for medical, $10 a month for extracurricular, $400 a month for entertainment. What is he doing for $400 a month in entertainment when my children have literally told me they don't go anywhere and they don't do anything except play video games in their rooms? And then $20 for gifts children give to others, totaling $785 a month. So I, on April 27th, 2022, and this BS 3-page order, not a parental agreement, not a custody order, just an order, to pay Justin $785 a month for those expenses that I just read off to you. Now, I'd love to see the receipts of that, Justin. You're required by law to give me receipts showing that you're actually spending that much a month in entertainment and clothing. if you're going to have me pay you $785 a month in child support that you've been racking up and using that to keep my children from me, you better cough up those receipts for the last 4 years, because April 27th is 4 years since this was signed. So you better cough up those receipts, because I'm going to be asking for them. I'm sure you'll have your mommy make up a bunch of fake receipts for that too. And then it literally states in that same sentence that I failed to provide a financial affidavit. Meaning, they put in here that I wasn't present. I had no representation in this hearing. They put in here that I did not give them a financial affidavit. Well, why would I give them a financial affidavit when on February 28th, 2022, I was ordered to transfer this to Florida? Wouldn't it be Florida's problem at that point? Wouldn't I be giving Florida a financial affidavit, an updated one at that? Because this case was originally started by me in 2020, and obviously a lot has changed since 2020. So why would I ever garnish a financial affidavit to an Illinois court where none of us lived? But so yeah, they calculated $785 a month in child support that I am to now pay Justin, while my rights are reserved for expenditures monthly to those 3 children. Meanwhile, April 27th of 2022, I'm homeless in my RV here in Florida, and I had been laid off my job March 25th of 2022. So I'm homeless, living in an RV at a campground, so I don't even have a permanent address, and I'm not working. I don't have a job, and I'm homeless, and they're ordering me to pay Justin $785 a month for expenditures. Not based on my finances, not based on his finances, but expenditures. And it even says that that's where they got the $785 a month from. So that is everything that happened in Illinois court until September 3rd of 2024. And this, September 3rd of 2024, is the UCCJEA conference, and we're going to start picking apart the court document manipulation. So my, at the time, attorney was Rick Brown of Daytona, Florida. Rick Brown was hired by me in March 2022. We finally, in September of 2020, or I'm sorry, I hired him March of 2024. We're not talking about 2022 anymore. March of 2024, I hire, after terminating Mary Jane Nettles, who documented the off-channel ex parte communications with Michael G. Nurheim of Illinois, that called her on his private cell phone number to pass along his private cell phone number. So I fire Mary Jane Nettles. I hire Rick Brown. Rick Brown modifies the order requesting that we domesticate the Illinois stuff so we can modify this reserved, because that word reserved is what I have been trying to get modified in Florida for 3-4 years now. Been down here trying to modify it. Meanwhile, Justin, Mary, and Ira Serlick are withholding any and all contact with my children, basically holding them hostage. Hostage. There's no other word for what they're doing. They are not allowing me any contact with my own 4 children. So finally, Rick Brown manages, and I don't know why it would take a year, but I had Mary Jane started this Florida case 2023-31828 FMCI in Florida Circuit 7, August 7th of 2023. So here we are, September 3rd of 2024, and Rick Brown is just now getting the Illinois judges and the Florida judge, Stasia Warren, all in a Zoom together to verify jurisdiction. Now here's the thing, guys. They don't even really need to do that, because the UCCJEA pretty much lays out who has jurisdiction and when. So they don't even really need to do that. what they were doing was literally just kicking the can down the road, hoping that I would just go away. No, these are my children, and I'm going to continue fighting to see and speak to them and care for them. I'm not just going away. But that's what their hope and goal was I would just disappear and go away. Anyways, so September 3rd, 2024, Judge Reginald Matthews is in a Zoom with Judge Stasia Warren, Rick Brown, me, Justin, and Justin's attorney, Serena Baldacchino of Rice Law Firm, and Judge Melius, Melius. So it was Judge Warren of Florida Circuit 7, Judge Melius, I don't know how you pronounce your name, and then Matthews, present. So I'll read this. Order, filed 9/3/2024 at 3:49 p.m. So this was after the hearing. This matter coming to be heard for UCC JEA conference with Judge Warren in Volusia County, Florida. Judges Melius and Matthews present from Lake County, Illinois. Rick Brown representing Heather Bendl, both appearing by Zoom, and Serena Baldacchino representing Justin Serlick. Thank you, Kendley. Both appearing via Zoom. The court being fully advised in the premises due notice having been given, it is hereby ordered. Now, this matches what is in my Florida docket that they filed. So docket 40, DIN 40 in my Florida Circuit 7 docket is this page. 41 is basically the history of the juvenile cases that really have not much to do with the family law case because those cases were closed out a long time ago. Here's where the Illinois court document manipulation comes into play. Here's the illegal activity. Here's the injustice. Here's the alteration of the documents, corruption, whatever you want to call it. You can call it corruption. You can call it injustice. You can call it illegal activity, doctoring, tampering with Illinois documents, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to break it down for you. Number one, the Lake County juvenile case was closed on January 27th, 2022. At that time, a final order was entered granting guardianship and custody of the three minor children, CS, BS, and TS, to Justin Serlick, the father. Nope, and I have the evidence that is wrong. So on this, I write, number one is not accurate. It was closed December 14th, 2021 by Judge Morosin as seen in Exhibit B. Exhibit C shows the document manipulated in handwriting with dates not matching. There is no record of a hearing occurring January 27th, 2022 in juvenile court. And this is Exhibit B. And again, this will all be scanned for you guys to follow along and look at it. So this is literally from the Juvenile Division of Illinois. And remember, separate from family court, this is Juvenile Division. Order of dismissal / termination. So this is terminating the Illinois juvenile cases for Tommy, Bianca, and Charlie. On this document, it says, the court's order that wardship is terminated, these proceedings are closed, the respondents are discharged, meaning they were closing the Illinois DCFS case. And then the checkbox right here, the court orders that the guardianship of the minor be given to Father Justin Serlick. Guardianship only. It does not stay custody. And then the bottom box is checked, and I circled them. The case is closed. Okay. This order was prepared by Amy Meister-Falby, ASA, to none other than Michael G. Nerheim. The date this was prepared says 14th day of December 2021. And then at the top up here, the date filed. December 14th, 2021. Okay. So then in my handwriting on the bottom, I say this is the real document. This case was closed out 12/14/2021. Heather Bendl was present via Zoom in Florida, 12/14/2021. The dates match. So Amy Meister Falby, ASA, prepared this order dated December 14th, 2021. And then there's just a scribble for the judge. It doesn't even have a judge name. So it doesn't say Judge Morosin. It doesn't say anything. Now, at the time of this was Judge Morosin, but it doesn't have his name here. Okay. So there's no indication on this form that a judge signed this at all. So one could speculate that Amy Meister Falby, ASA, prepared this and then scribbled a name, a signature. Because there's no judge's name on this document at all in juvenile court. Okay. One could speculate that a judge never even saw this document and a judge did not sign this document because there's no judge's name on it. Okay. So let's go to the next one filed into my Florida docket. Now this one I have never seen before. Throughout the entirety of the last 5 years, I've been reiterating over and over again, I have been building a much larger case, which means I have been saving every single email. I have been saving every single text message. Everything electronic, I have been filing away into a folder in my email. And this is nowhere to be found in my documents. The first time I ever saw this was when I started picking apart this September filing based on the General Magistrate's 11 pages that Sandra Upchurch signed last week. And I'll explain that in a minute, but I want to explain this doctored document. So we've got a handwritten amendment, and it literally says amended by agreement on 1/26/2022, and that is handwritten. Okay. And then all of a sudden, this document now has a checkbox and a circle. This wasn't me circling it, but the arrows are mine. Checkbox and a handwritten circle that says the court orders that custody of the minor be given to Father Justin Serlick. Okay? So we've got handwriting, which is not, it's all sorts of screams, red flags, illegal. What they probably were not expecting me to ever notice is that the date, even though it says amended agreement on January 26, 2022, what they probably did not expect me to notice is that date prepared is December 14th, 2021. And then if you look up here, date filed, January 27th, 2022. So the dates don't match. So they took this one that was real, hand wrote, changed it, and then refiled it January 27th of 2022. And again, there's no judge's name on this. The only name that's on it, order prepared by Amy Meister Falby, ASA. ASA to Michael G. Nerheim. So underneath here, I say proof this was Exhibit A altered / manipulated. The dates do not match. And there is no evidence a juvenile hearing took place January 27, 2022. Heather Bendl has never seen this document before. I actually saw this technically for the first time over this last weekend, is when I really picked this apart and noticed this. This date says December 14th, 2021, which is the real date that the case was closed. And then all of a sudden this is handwritten and hand circled and then filed in January 2022. Over a month. January 14th, 2022 would have been a month after the case was closed. So 5-6 weeks after the case is closed officially by Judge Morosin, all of a sudden this gets altered and filed in somewhere. So explain to me If this order was legal and binding and real, why, on February 28th, 2022, did Judge Marnie Slavin of Family Court order us both transferred to Florida? If this was legit. Makes you really think. So the connection between Amy Meister Falby, Assistant State Attorney, and Michael G. Nurheim is this right here. Michael G. Nurheim, Amy Falby. Okay? So these two are connected to each other. January 26th of 2024, my attorney, Mary Jane Nettles, documented an ex parte communication with Michael G. Nurheim. This right here that I've been showing like crazy to everybody. Michael G. Nurheim. So, I'm willing to put a pretty hefty wager on Michael G. Nurheim and Amy Falby having something to do with this doctored document, this altered document. Now, how did I come across this in my Florida documentation? Because this is not in my Illinois documentation. Is the 11 pages that General Magistrate Alexander Alvarez typed up and filed April 1st, and then Sandra C. Upchurch signed it, make it so, last week, April 2nd. And as Pete and I were going through that 11 pages over the weekend to document everything and correct things, we started trying to understand where Alexander Alvarez was getting some of the verbiage in his 11 pages of recommendations to Sandra C. Upchurch, because none of that was in my Florida document, which screams connections with the Serlick family. So one of the things we noticed is that he kept referencing this UCCJEA conference on September 3rd. Now, when all of these documents got filed into my case September 16th, after the September 3rd hearing, I still had an attorney, and that attorney was Rick Brown. So I was putting trust and faith in the fact that my attorney was doing right by me and my children, right? We pay people a large sum of money. We put faith in them that they are going to be professional and uphold the ethics and morals and laws of their job as an attorney. So I did not, regretfully, I did not pick that 35-page document that Illinois transferred into my Florida docket as well as I should have last September, because I had an attorney at the time, Rick Brown. So I was stupid enough to trust him. This is a warning to everyone out there. When you have an attorney, make sure you are reviewing your documents on your own. Do not trust that they're going to explain stuff to you. Make sure you're reading through all of your documents, because had I actually picked those documents apart in September when they came into my docket, I would have noticed this way back in September. But I noticed these alterations and discrepancies just really over this past weekend. And this is nowhere to be found in my documents. So that means that after this UCCJEA conference, that means that someone slipped this in and sent it to Florida to make it appear as if Illinois gave him custody of the kids, when, based on all the evidence that I gave you guys last Friday, the move to Florida was never meant to be permanent. It was only supposed to be temporary until the cases were closed out And then the family law case from 2020 picked back up. It was never meant to be terminating my rights and giving him full custody. And that was it. It was never meant to be that way. So what the Serlicks have been doing is highly illegal. They probably never expected me to notice this. But I did. And I'm glad I noticed it when I did, because, this is going to be so useful in my appeal to appellant court. Because this is absolutely a fraudulent document. Handwritten, dates don't match, hand circled. It's disgusting. It is utterly disgusting that these people behind the scenes are willing to put their jobs and their lives in jeopardy for people like Mary and Ira Serlick and Justin Serlick. Why? This is going to land them in prison. If I go after criminal charges, this is going to land everybody in prison. This is multiple felonies. This is proving that my kids are just dollar signs. They're just dollar signs to these people. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. There's just a dollar sign above their head, and they're not even treated like humans. Because nobody can sit there and look at all of this and look at their unexcused absences, look at their 1.0 GPA for 3 years now, look at how secluded and isolated they are, being cooped up in their house and only allowed to play video games. They lost all of their scouting 5 years ago. Scouting just disappeared. They were all amazing scouts. All of them. Tommy was so close to being an Eagle Scout. Ariana was a Girl Scout National Delegate and close to being an Eagle Scout. These two kids, 13 months apart, when Ariana joined Troop 188 in Lakeville, Illinois, they were competing with each other to earn merit badges and to rank up. They were literally competing with each other and pushing each other to move to the next rank. Tommy was elected into the Order of the Arrow by Troop 188 as a first-year scout. Ariana was elected in, I believe, the very following year. Bianca was very involved in Dawn. Dawn's watching, her daughter Tiana. Bianca and Tiana were my daisies that I started Daisy Troop and a junior troop for Ariana and Bianca. And Bianca and Tiana were daisies together and kept going up in scouting ranks together. They were basically best friends. And then Bianca is ripped away from everything. All of them were ripped away from everything they've ever known and spat out down here because of illegal activity in the court documents. Manipulating the court system. Manipulating the truth. Charlie, I had a bunch of lunch dates with him last year at Palm Terrace Elementary. Charlie knows that Dad is illegally keeping the kids from me. He knows. He's a very smart young boy. He's in 2nd grade now. All last year, he was saying that Dad doesn't take him to the beach. Dad doesn't take him anywhere. All we do is sit in our room and play video games. Dad doesn't let us do anything. Charlie literally said, "Mom, I don't know how to swim. Can you teach me how to swim?" I said, "Yes, of course, Charlie, I will teach you how to swim." I was a lifeguard at 16 years old. Ariana is a lifeguard. My children should know how to swim. They're on a peninsula where we're surrounded by water. That is like rule number 1 as a Floridian. You know how to swim. But he last year told me, "I don't know how to swim because Dad never takes us to a pool or to the beach." And I'm surrounded by illegal court documents keeping my children from me. Abusing our court system, abusing our judicial system, abusing my constitutional rights, my civil rights, my human rights, zero due process. Everybody is covering for each other. Nurheim, Falby, Kathleen McGee, Stasia Warren, Sandra Upchurch, General Magistrate Alexander Alvarez, Serena Baldacchino of Rice Law Firm, Rick Brown, Mary Jane Nettles. They're all covering for each other while my children are suffering. While I have now lost 5 full years with my children, it took forever for me to have these children. I went through countless years of fertility treatments with Fertility Centers of Illinois, struggling with thyroid issues, PCOS issues. I could not have children on my own. 3 of my 4 children are fertility treatments. Charlie is the only exception to that situation. And he wasn't even, the way he was created is not the way children should be created. And that was a very emotional and hard situation for me to come to terms with. Most women, when they find out they're pregnant from a rape, they have an abortion. I could not bring myself to have an abortion, even though many of my friends told me I should. I had countless friends telling me that I should have an abortion. Absolutely not. It's just something I cannot bring myself to do. So I chose to love Charlie as my miracle baby after he was basically a rainbow baby, because I had a miscarriage with Roger months earlier after Roger moved out. So Charlie was my rainbow baby, and he meant the world to me. He pulled me out of a depth of despair that Roger left me in when he moved out of my house and left the kids and I after being with us for 1.5 years. Charlie pulled me out of those depths of despair. I had a reason to live. And that reason was carrying him and making sure he stayed healthy and was to term. That reason was Bianca. That reason was Tommy. That reason was Ariana. They were the reason that I kept moving forward after a guy ripped my heart out in 2015, 2016. And here I am, 5 years later, buried in paperwork because the Serlicks, Justin, Mary, and Ira Serlick, are paying people off to manipulate our judicial system. So this book, I posted a picture of it. Pros, the Florida Bar Appellant Practice Section, the Pro Se Self-Represented Appellant Handbook. I had it printed and bound because it's that damn big. Okay. So this is basically telling me all the rules I have to follow to file my denials from the General Magistrate and Sandra C. Upchurch, signing it yesterday, or not yesterday, but last week, to get it to appellate court, which is what I have been needing to do for 5 years now. When this April 27, 2022 order that was signed by Illinois Judge Marnie Slavin illegally, because it was illegal, it should not have happened. I was not present. I did not have any legal representation present. It should never have happened behind my back. I had no clue these 3 pages were signed until months later when Mary Serlick emailed it to me, gloating about me losing custody of my children. Well, first of all, it doesn't say I lost custody. It doesn't even say her son has custody. It just says he has rights to the children, and my rights are reserved, not terminated. So the only reason I even had a copy of this April 27, 2022 order that happened behind my back is because Mary Serlick emailed it to me in June of 22, gloating to me, being horrible and nasty and vile and just the most inhumane person possible to the mother of her grandchildren. That woman is pure evil. Pure evil. There's no other word for her. She's pure freaking evil. And when she dies, she's going straight to hell. And there's no saving her. So by the time I got that in my hands, June of 22, I couldn't appeal it. You only have 30 days to appeal in the state of Illinois. So it was beyond the appeal date, which I'm sure was designed that way, that I wouldn't have a copy of it in my hands served to me by Illinois Marnie Slavin's, court clerk or Justin's attorney, who was it? Katz Goldstein Warren. I'm sure that was by design that they didn't serve it to me, so I couldn't appeal it. An illegal order, 3-page order that should have never happened in the state of Illinois because we were all down here in Florida. Why would Illinois sign an order in April of 22 when in February 22 they ordered us to transfer it to Florida? So they have been hiding behind this April 27, 2022 order, these whopping 3 pages. They have been hiding behind it for 4 years now. I have been desperately trying to modify this April 27, 2022 order. Doesn't say parental agreement, doesn't say custody, it just literally has order on it. I've been trying to get this modified so I can have access to my children legally for 4 years now. 4 years. 4 years this has been going on in the state of Florida since this crap started. I've been down here since December of 2021. I formally transferred my Illinois driver's license from Illinois to Florida February 8th of 2022. So literally 20 days before this February 28th, 2022 order instructed us to transfer to Florida, because literally in this hearing, I told them, I am now a resident of Florida. Justin's a resident of Florida. My kids have been in Florida since August of 21 and they're going to school in Florida. Marnie Slavin. Okay, then you need to transfer it to Florida. Here I am, April of 2025, still trying to get it technically transferred to Florida so we can modify it. So this is all I want to explain tonight with the Illinois court documents. So last Friday explained how my children ended up down here by manipulating guardian ad litem Kathleen McGee. My attorney filing emergency motion saying, no, if you send the kids to Florida, you're violating your constitutional rights, your civil rights, you're violating due process. Mother was never formally charged with anything. How can you take her children away from their home state and chuck them with the non-custodial parent? Because remember, at that point, it was still my December 2013 divorce where I had full custody. So I was the full custodial parent. Justin only had visitation until this April of 22 order happened. So I was the custodial parent. And they were yeeted down here illegally. And I have been trying to gain any and all access to them since. They think I gave them... One of the things Bianca said to me in a Zoom hearing in 2021, Grandma Mary told us that you gave us up for adoption in Illinois because you didn't want us anymore. So Daddy came and got us. My daughter was literally saying, Grandma Mary told us you gave us up for adoption. Then Charlie told us at Palm Terrace last year that they were being told that I was purposely choosing not to live with them anymore, and I was living with another family. That's only an eighth true. I'm purposely choosing not to live with Justin Serlick anymore because I divorced him in 2013, and ex-wives do not live with their ex-husbands 12 years later. But there's no reason why I shouldn't have my children in my life. Talk to them, love them, help them with their education, raise them. There's no reason for this. There's no reason. All these people are doing are damaging my children more and more every day. Every day that this continues, they are psychologically harming my children. They are abusing my children. They are neglecting my children. I don't know how anyone can continue to follow my story and tell me that what they're doing is not child abuse. How is this not child abuse, guys? I want to know how this isn't child abuse. Because this is This is judicial abuse. This is legal abuse. This is felonies. This is lying to the children. This is abusing the children. This is neglecting the children. Florida says I can be a middle school teacher to other people's children. I have no criminal background. I literally have no criminal background whatsoever. I can teach 121 other 7th graders, but I can't have my own children in my life. So I would really like someone to explain to me how this is anything but court corruption, illegal activity, and manipulation of our judicial system. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I'm going to go live later this week, probably Friday night, after I meet with my group for my social media marketing class. And then we are going to explain the 11 pages of the guardian ad litem's lies and manipulations, and what I am motion to vacating and filing notice of appeal. And we're going to start working this up, the court system, and get this out of these corrupt Circuit 7 and Michael G. Nerheim's hands, and get this to some real judges in new eyes and fresh eyes on all of this, because you better damn well believe I'm bringing my A game. So I'll go live later this week. I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate you listening to me, supporting me. Please pray for my 4 children. They need all the prayers they can get because they need help. They absolutely need help. Tommy needs help. Bianca needs help. Ariana appears to be doing better in school. Charlie is doing okay. But Tommy and Bianca, he's 17 with an 8th grade education, 1.0 GPA. I don't know what college is going to pick him up. He turns 18 October of this year. Bianca has had straight F's in reading and writing for 3 years now. She also has an overall GPA of 1.0 in 7th grade. My kids are illiterate. They cannot read or write. They have a 1.0 GPA. And here I am in my master's program with a 3.8 GPA. And in 2 years, when I complete my master's, I'm moving on to my PhD. My PhD in psychology. And I don't know, perhaps by the time this is all said and done, maybe I might just enroll myself in law school too. And I'll get a law degree and a PhD so I can start educating these other judges on the psychological harm that is called judicial abuse and what they're doing to my babies and all these other children that are victims of this court injustice. Have a great night, everyone. I will see you guys later.